just recently, they had the Chief Communication Officer Survey 4. So this was released. And one of the questions they asked is they asked CEOs, what are some important skills people should have? And you can see rising each year, up to 65% this year, is crisis communication, which shows you how important this is becoming. They call it crisis management, but for me, the heart of crisis management is actually crisis communication. So I have to start thinking, why? Why are they placing so much value on this? And we can look at it in the fact that crisis communication is a very important aspect of strategic communication to help us achieve some of the objectives that we have in a crisis situation. And we can take an illustration of that for reputation. That during a crisis, your reputation takes a hit, so it drops down. So we have what would be the projected, our reputation stays the same, crisis hits, we drop down. Well, the idea is with effective crisis communication, we start to rebound. We're going to rebound quicker. Because we all know that in a crisis, time is our best friend. Over time, people forget. They come back, they buy products, they fly on our airplanes. But we also know ineffective crisis communication is going to make the situation worse. So you can't just get out there and say anything. And if you followed over the summer the train crash in Canada and how whenever their CEO talked, they made the situation worse, which essentially was the headline in Business Week publication, CEO speaks, things get worse. So he replaced Tony Hayward as the really bad CEO during a crisis. So the question then that drives my research and what I want to talk about today is how do we tell the difference between effective and ineffective crisis communication? Because there actually is a lot on the line, particularly as the crisis becomes more severe. So what I want to do today is talk a little bit about the connection between practice, theory, and research. Some walk you through the theory I have and been applying, and then end up talking about the lessons. What do we learn? What does all this research that's been conducted tell us about the practice? Because in the end, that's really the most important component. Because crisis communication is an applied type of communication. And from my perspective as an academic, applied research tries to solve real-world problems. And it needs to feed back into that process.